It had been 10 long years of a love story that looked perfect from the outside, but inside, it was a battlefield. Every fight ended the same way, Mike. Walking away, me swallowing my pride, begging for another chance. I told myself it was love, but maybe it was just fear of losing the years I'd invested. What if everything I'd fought for was just an illusion from the start? That night, after another argument that felt colder than any before, I walked to the beach, the same place I had run to when I was 18. Back then, the waves had calmed me, but this time, the wind was so sharp it stung my skin. I wrapped my coat tighter, but somehow, the chill wasn't just in the air, it was in my heart. Was this the moment I finally stopped running after him? On my way back, I passed by a dessert shop. Years ago, I would have been too heartbroken to eat a single bite, but something about the warm light spilling from inside pulled me in. I sat at a corner table, the aroma of fresh brownies swirling around me. And for the first time in a long while, I enjoyed something without thinking of him. The sweetness lingered, not just on my tongue, but somewhere deeper, in a place I thought had forgotten how to feel joy. Could a slice of pie really taste better than the person you love? When I finally reached home, I expected myself to do what I always did: apologize, beg, patch things up. But before I could even pick up my phone, a message from my boss came through. A sudden business trip, 1 month away. I accepted without thinking. The days flew by in a blur of meetings, deadlines, and airports. Somewhere in between hotel check-ins and project reports, I realized something shocking: I hadn't called Mike once. Not because I was stubborn, but because I forgot. How could I forget the man who once consumed every thought in my mind? A month later, Mike's name flashed on my screen. His voice was cold, almost rehearsed. "Why haven't you called to apologize yet?" That's when it hit me. Didn't want to. The weight I'd carried for years suddenly felt lighter. I mumbled something about being busy, but deep down, my heart whispered the truth. I was tired. I was done. But the question that haunted me was this: if I really let go now, was it freedom? Or was I losing the only love I'd ever known? What if the only way to find yourself is to leave behind the person you thought you couldn't live without? Mike didn't believe I could walk away. He thought my love for him was an unbreakable chain, one I'd never dare to cut. But something inside me was shifting. My work was growing. My days were full, and for the first time, my heart wasn't drowning in his absence. That's when the offer came. A business trip to Los Angeles, lasting a year and a half. It was the city I had dreamed of living in since I was a teenager. The city Mike had always forbidden me to visit. He used to joke half seriously that if I went there, I'd never come back to him. But was it really a joke? Or had he always feared the freedom I might find there? I didn't hesitate. I said yes instantly. My boss looked at me with surprise, warning that once I left, there was no turning back for a year and a half. I only smiled. Inside, I felt something I hadn't in years: relief. The first few weeks in LA were a blur of late-night emails, early morning meetings, and endless hotel rooms. The city was beautiful, just like in the magazines, but in person, it was alive in ways I couldn't explain. Every street corner felt like a promise, every sunset like a reminder that I was still capable of starting over. But how long could I keep Mike out of my mind before the past came chasing me? Slowly, the emotional miles between us began to matter more than the physical ones. Calls went unanswered. Messages stayed unread. Not because I was playing a game, but because I was living. Then, one evening, my mother called. Her voice was both familiar and foreign, warm, yet carrying the weight of old arguments. She didn't ask how I was doing. Instead, she asked when I was getting married, and why it wasn't to Mike. Before I could respond, she slipped in a new proposal: a man her sister wanted me to meet. Why did everyone seem more afraid of me being alone than they were of me being unhappy? I brushed it off, but her words lingered. Even here, thousands of miles from Mike, the world wanted to tether me to someone. And yet, every day I spent in this city, I could feel the invisible chains loosening. My laugh came easier. My steps felt lighter. My reflection in the mirror looked freer, but deep inside, I knew one question still hung in the air. When Mike finally came looking for me, would I be strong enough to tell him I wasn't coming back? What if the person you once chased for years suddenly stood in front of you, asking for forever, just when you finally learned to live without them? It had been months since I'd left for Los Angeles, months since I'd stopped waiting for Mike's messages or counting the days since our last fight. My life was finally mine: late nights, spent working on projects I loved. mornings with the city skyline painted gold, and weekends exploring streets I'd only ever seen in dreams. Then one rainy afternoon, I turned a corner. And there he was. Mike, standing exactly where the light hit the pavement, like he belonged there. His smile was the same, his voice was the same, confident, certain that I would melt like I always did. But could I still be that same girl who ran into his arms without thinking? He didn't waste time. "Emily," he said, pulling out a small, velvet box. "I don't want to lose you. Marry me." For a moment, the city noise faded. I looked at the man I had once begged to love me back. The man who made me question my worth every time I had to fight for his attention. And now, he wanted to spend his life with me. But was this love? Or just fear of losing control over me? My hands stayed still. My voice didn't tremble. "Mike," I said softly, "I'm exhausted from chasing your love. I'm done." His eyes darkened, the charm slipping away as quickly as it had come. He muttered something about me regretting this, but I didn't listen. He turned and walked away into the crowd, and for the first time in 10 years, I didn't run after him. Had I really just walked away from the only love I had known for a decade? That night, I sat by my apartment window, watching the city, lights blink like tiny heartbeats. I thought I'd feel empty, but instead, there was a strange, beautiful stillness inside me. My career was thriving. I had friends who truly cared, and I'd even started talking to someone new, someone gentle, someone who listened, someone who didn't make love feel like a war. The chains I had carried for years were gone, replaced by something I'd almost forgotten existed. Freedom. Was this what healing actually felt like, or was it just the beginning of something even bigger? I didn't have the answer, and maybe I didn't need it, because for the first time in my life, I wasn't searching for love in someone else's eyes. I was finding it in my own reflection. If you've ever walked away from someone you gave your all to, share your story in the comments. You never know who might find the courage through your words. If this video touched your heart, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon, because I'll be sharing stories like this every week.